All right, Shalom Israel. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Yahweh is who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and there's no God beside him. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit, and salutations to the elect whom the Lord have given ears to hear. And as the elder Brother Amwanga Bar says, another day closer, another minute closer. You know, my next breath will be another breath closer to the kingdom. And, you know, as we, members of the hopeful elect, look at this world, we always comparing it to prophecy, right? And this is essentially prophecy, whereas, you know, there was a major marathon, was it yesterday in Delaware? And this happened. So I'm going to play this video. As you see, it's from the Hopeful Elect 3. The brother GMS Get This Work, he re-uploaded it. And here we go.
White man was about to win a race. He almost got to the end of the race. The ribbon was almost his. The award was almost his. But he got comfortable. He got so comfortable, he slowed down and started looking at his watch because he just assumed that he was going to be the winner of the race. And then all of a sudden, there was a black man. Huts, 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 huts. Started catching up. Huts, 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 huts. Eventually, that black man who was way back there caught up to the white man who just assumed that he was going to be the winner, still looking at his watch, didn't cross the line yet. That black man beat him. That black man surpassed him. And he actually won the race by 2 seconds. Do you want to know what all the major outlets are talking about today? How did the white man lose? Here are the thoughts from the white man who lost. How does it feel, you being a white man losing?
Right. So apparently that video, let me see. Right. Apparently, according to various sources, is saying that white people are crashing out after this guy, which the race was between Joshua Jackson. I mean, it was a marathon, so it was a bunch of people, but the top two, right? The first place and the first to lose, the second place, was number 1 being Joshua Jackson, and number 2 being, his name is Carson Mello, right? And hey, shout out to that commentator. You know, they did their thing. As the brother GMS Get This Work, you know, the video he uploaded, whomever video that was, they did their thing commentating. But nevertheless, let's grab that precept the brother mentioned in his video, Sirach 11, and I want to start at verse 4. Boast not of thy clothing and raiment, and exalt not thyself in the day of honor, For the works of the Lord are wonderful, and his works among men are hidden. All right. And who the Lord has to rule this earth is hidden in plain sight, to where not too many people agrees with or can see the building of the elect, the downtrodden, the humbled, right? It says, and his works among men are hidden. Many kings have sat down upon the ground. And that's just beautiful, because if this thing of ours was truly believed in by Esau Edom, I mean, he's believing it now, in lieu of, what just conspired yesterday with that marathon. There was also brothers that's been going into this guy, David Wilcox, and the Black Messiah story, Simeon Togo. And Simeon Togo was pretty much warning these devils, right? Because Simeon Togo was a guy, I mean, he sounded like an angel. He was a guy who was healing people, and Esau caught wind and killed him. Killed him, chopped his body up, killed him, pretty much tried to eradicate him. But he ended up coming back just to warn those devils that there's going to be guys like him that's going to come back on the earth. And those ones, these devils are not going to be able to kill. All right. And we know at the end of the day, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai is going to lift up a standard. All right. Proving again that the Lord's men, all right, the elect Jacob, all right, or the elect of Jacob, is going to prevail. So it says, many kings have sat down upon the ground, and one that was never thought of have worn the crown. And as mentioned in the video, the guy Joshua Jackson was way far off. Nevertheless, he had the spirit to persevere. And this timing that the Lord brought this out is truly impeccable. All right. And when you go into those names, Joshua Jackson, right, it says Joshua Jackson combines a Hebrew given name with an English patronymic surname, together signifying the Lord is salvation and son of Jack. It says origin derives from the Hebrew name Yahushua. It says Yehoshua, but we know it's really pronounced Yahushua. It is a theophoric name combining Yeho, a shortened form of the divine name Yahweh, and Shua, to deliver or save. All right. Which again, Yahweh is the Most High, who the word normally calls God. And Shua stands for Shai, right? Which goes into deliver. Most sources translate it as Yahweh is salvation, God is deliverance, or Yahweh saves. Well, it says Jehovah, but we know it's Yahweh. In the Old Testament, Joshua was the successor to Moses, who led the Israelites into the promised land. The name shares the same linguistic root as Jesus, or Yeshua, it says. An English and Scottish patronymic surname meaning son of Jack. Since Jack is a common medieval diminutive of John, derived from the Hebrew Yakanan, the name Jackson indirectly means son of one whom God has favored, or son of God's grace. So look at that, man. He's a son of one whom God has favored. And who are those who God has favored? Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh, thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all that are upon the face of the earth. So there we go. We are a special chosen people. Okay. And the world is coming to that conclusion. You know, I mean, it's controversial. Nevertheless, the conclusion is that he won. All right. Again, this man came out of nowhere when he was way behind. And when you spiritually look at it, are we not way behind today? All right. We got the curses on us. All right. Which signifies that we will be the tail and he will be the head. Again, one that was never thought of have worn a crown. Right? The court jesters, the entertainers, the garbage men. All right. The low lives, so-called lowlies of the society, you know, are become the kings. And this is all prophesied to happen. When we read in the book of Genesis 25, it tells us that Jacob has held the hill of Esau. That's symbolic of Jacob pulling Esau down. So it says, it is a very common surname in English-speaking countries and was famously borne by figures like U.S. President Andrew Jackson. All right. So that's pretty much on that. Pretty much it on that. I want to go into the name Carson Mello. Now, I couldn't find too much on Mello, but peep the name Carson. Now, the name Carson is a Scottish and Irish origin, meaning son of Car. The name Car itself is derived from the Gaelic word Car, referring to a marsh or swamp, or from the Old Norse jar, meaning brushwood or thicket. Thus, Carson essentially means son of someone who lived near a marsh or thicket. Now, those of you who've been watching us, you know that Esau Edom, even calls himself today Caucasians, lived among the marshes and the thickets. All right, so when you look and when you look it up, right, I was asking the chat, is the Caucasus Mountains full of marshes? Now it says, where you find marshes, right? In the Colchis lowland, Georgia, on the western edge by the Black Sea, this area is famously swampy and marshy. Ancient Greeks called it Colchis, known for its wetlands. So it's mainly in the lowlands and foothills surrounding the Caucasus. And then I looked up, I went to Job 30 and 3, right? which just is a tell sign of this devil. All right. Again, Esau, Edom, who the world ignorantly calls Whyt. All right, which are essentially Caucasian for the most part. And I say for the most part because we know that some of our people look like white people. All right. It's a spiritual thing, essentially. But Job 30:1, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to set with the dogs of my flock. Right? As this is a characteristic of Esau Edom that loves to commit bestiality. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, and former time desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men, they cried after them as after a thief. Because when you go into the history of Esau Edom, the wild man, you know, they were a parasitic, which they still are, sort of like a parasitic, but not sort of, they are a parasitic nation, you know. And when you go into that word, mallows, right, it goes into a plant that grows in salt marshes. So that led me to look up where can you find salt marshes in the region. In the Caucasus region, salt marshes are mostly found in the lowlands and coastal areas around the mountains, not up in the mountains themselves, you see? So, yeah, man, this is representative, all right, of the Caucasian race today, right? So, yeah, man, Jacob versus Esau, where at the end of the day, Jacob shall win. Let me see if it's more in that name, Carson. I believe that was pretty much it, though. Right, referring to a marsh or swamp. You know, so I had to, jump on that, signifying the times. You know, we still in hell, but it's promised that we will come out of hell. All right. And I don't know if it was here. Okay, yeah, it says this is symbolic, metaphorical, and prophetic. Right. Then the person, child of God, says the last shall be first and the first shall be last. And that's very true. Right. So, hey, the scripture, I also thought of Job, was that Job 20? While he is eating and he is about to fill his belly, the Lord shall cast him down. You know, this devil truly thinks that he's going to win. You know, but that great disappointment when you were that close, that's how the Lord is going to come, like a thief in the night. Hey, so if that, shalom to the elect.